Hi guys, welcome to another Friday Tips with Fens. We're up here in Canberra again, visiting the crew at Complete Wealth. Lucky enough to have Josh Batty in today, one of the talk riders and one of the FTP trained riders, to come in, and we're going to talk about sickness and what can sometimes prelude sickness or come before you get sick in terms of training intensity, training volume and load. And then, how we can deal with that. So, Josh, we've recently been training you for Port to Port, which is coming up soon. We've actually come off an end of season break, really, didn't we, after the cross country season, where we were going pretty hard, and some great results in the cross country and in the short course, where you got a bronze medal. Now, after that, we had a little bit of a break, and then we've started to come back with some pretty heavy volume, and started to build you up ready for the stage race based stuff that's coming. So, when you were under that heavy load, what happened in that sort of week before you got sick? Did you feel anything while you were out racing?
Training? I didn't really feel anything out training, and then all of a sudden it seemed to really hit me. I just woke up one morning, had a sore throat, and really blocked sinuses, and just was not feeling that great.
Okay. So what did you end up doing then? Did you just carry on, or did you call your coach to tell you had a sore throat?
I thought, I'd be all right, so I just kept trying to train through it, but it just didn't get any better.
Yeah. Okay. So the classic sign there is you start to get the symptoms of a cold, a classic cold. How we deal with that at that particular point is fundamental. So in your case, you thought, and sometimes it can, sometimes you can just get over that and it isn't a problem, it just clears up. But, what happened to you, obviously you went out, still tried to hit your sessions, you're driven and motivated, and, you ended up getting worse. And what did your symptoms turn into? What ended up happening?
Well, I ended up, feeling a lot weaker, my sore throat got worse, and I got a lot more blocked sinuses and just started to feel really run down, and it was tough in the cold mornings.
Yeah. So again, in that sort of situation, there were two main things that I would normally suggest. Had Josh just got straight on either one of our instant messaging on today's plan or through a call, would be to say, fundamentally this particular day for the next day, let's just have a rest. Okay, rest is not the enemy of us as a cyclist. We recover when we rest, and the chances are that if it had caught and nipped it in the bud early, chances are that wouldn't have progressed, because by continuing to train hard, we actually in training above threshold, we actually can really lower our immunity, and therefore that bug that's just starting to take effect really grabs us and makes it a lot worse. The other thing that you can do is to then just go out and do very short amount of low intensity training, at around sort of 60% of your current threshold and below. So you might just turn the legs over for a 30 minutes, 40 minutes, keeps you activated, keeps you moving, keeps the legs turning over, but it's not putting any undue stress on the body to make that cold or flu or whatever it is worse. Thing to really think about is if it's above the head, and it's not on the chest, and you've not got any symptoms of flu-like symptoms, i.e. aching muscles and raised temperature, generally we're considered to be, a cold, and therefore I would reduce the intensity of the training, just do sort of half volume and all at that sort of endurance and recovery zone until the symptoms get better. That means you haven't lost everything, you haven't in terms of your training load, it hasn't dropped off too much, and you feel like you've still kept moving, so you still feel like you've done some work. If you're getting any of the symptoms of aching muscles, higher temperature, then the key there is to stop training. You need to make sure that you stop training. You put undue stress on, and you can put undue stress on your heart, because it can become inflamed when training with flus and bad viral infections. So if you're getting any of them symptoms, the key is just to stop. Have a few good days off until all those symptoms have gone, and then potentially we could start you back up training again. So this week you're back into it.
Yep.
And we've got Port to Port coming up in a few weeks.
Yep.
How do you feel?
Feeling pretty good. Excited to get out there. Should be good fun.
Yeah, good, mate. Good. I think the thing to remember when you're coming back from sickness is not to try and make up for lost time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's been and it's gone. So the reality of it is that you haven't lost a huge amount. You know, you had 3 or 4 or 5 days off. Not being able to train hard has a very little effect on the overall build and progression. So stay positive, get into it nice and slowly, and get ready for port to port.
Yep, awesome.
Good. All right, guys, I hope that's helped in sort of management of sickness and colds. And remember, there's a lot more goes on in terms of sort of negativity of missing sessions from a mental and psychological perspective than actual physiological loss of form. So don't worry if you have to take a few days off to make a few steps up and get well again. All right, guys, I hope that helps, and I'll see you on the trail. You know, often I talk to a lot of my riders about what I would call the Groundhog Day experience. And the Groundhog Day experience is simply... So there's little blood supply to our gut and our intestines. So therefore, the absorption of food is nowhere near as good as it is at rest.